You're all set.
Yeah, we're on now. It looks like we're on. Okay, so we're going to call the pre-council meeting for the City of Ashtabula City Council on Monday, May the 3rd, 2021. We'll call the meeting to order. Stacy, will you call the roll?
Mr. Roskovich,
Here.
Mr. Spielman,
Here.
Mrs. Foglio,
Here.
Mr. Crawford,
Here.
Ms. Young,
Here.
Ms. Harris,
Here.
Ms. Haynes,
Here.
Mr. Timonier,
Here.
Ms. Welch, Mr. Franklin.
Here.
Ms. Welch?
Here.
Mr. Franklin couldn't make it.
Okay. He's not here tonight. Okay. All right, so we will call the meeting to order. We will have our agenda review at this time. We have quite a few items that we have been discussing that'll come up to a vote tonight that we've been discussing for the past week. Most of them in the city manager's realm. And we want to discuss the paving the city streets. That was on, we have already done that, or is that coming on tonight, Jim? Mr. Timonier?
Mr. President, I will be requesting that for passage tonight.
Okay, that's coming on later tonight then. Okay.
Yep.
So I think we have pretty much, we'll deal with all this in the city manager's report. We will have a report from the city health department with Miss Hill will be with us this evening as well. And we have some minutes to report. And then, like I said, quite a few legislative items. I don't think there's anything else in the, I think Ms. Sensky has sent out over 200 letters to residents on Walnut Boulevard, 200 feet from the beach. I know I got one. Kim, you probably got one too. So she has to, and that meeting is going to be June 7th. And so, Stacy, is that planned before the council meeting? Is that like?
Yes, it'll be at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
And just to let you know, I had to go 200 feet beyond every boundary line of the subject properties. So that's why there were so many. I was able to weed out duplicates. So I didn't send as much as as every parcel, but.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you go all the way down to the Marine Museum?
Yeah.
Good. All the way down there to all the way to the.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Right, so that'll be coming up in June. So plan on, as you're looking ahead, June 7th, our meeting will start earlier. But other than that, does any counselor have anything?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Yes, actually, I did receive a call today from a resident of Walnut Boulevard that was not agreeing to some of the language that was wrote in that. So I did have him, I asked him at the letter, how did it state? And it said to contact Ms. Sensky. So I told him to make sure he does contact her so it's captured.
Okay.
So his was more of the wordings for semi-permanent, non-conforming. And he said in there, it specifically mentions tents. So he said, if my grandkids come and want to set up tents in the backyard, that's saying they wouldn't be able to set a tent up in their backyard. So that's the way he was reading it. I wasn't sure at the time, but he was concerned about that. He said he fully understands to protect the value of the properties around and his, but he said there's some things that he just doesn't see can be controlled by the city if it's on his property. So that was the one he picked out, was the tents, was the one item he did pick out. But okay. So one contact me already.
Yeah. All right. And he'll contact, and then, like I said, he'll, as we'll have that meeting and he can certainly bring that item up for discussion. On the 7th, I certainly don't think that's the intent or the spirit of the,
the way he just thought was worded, it's if you went word for word, that's what he was afraid of, that how someone later on could interpret how it's wrote, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to keep anybody from camping or something like that. But
Mr. President, yeah, I don't think I don't know if that would fall under semi-permanent.
Yeah.
But we can certainly take a look at it. But it's interesting you mentioned that last year we actually did start looking at tent legislation because what we had found were some people that were putting up some bigger tents and leaving them up for months at a time. And then some people even got into the habit of renting those tents to different people within the community. So surprisingly, when we went out and looked, there are many communities that actually have tent legislation. So that might be addressed in a whole separate issue of our legislation going forward.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. I know I've seen they're not mobile homes. What are they called? Campers. And I've seen those parked on the streets with the electrical cords running the houses and so forth. And I know I've called on those a couple of times, but I haven't thought about tents. That's interesting. Okay. Does anybody, council? Otherwise, I'm going to go on to the manager for his report this evening. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I do have a couple things to ask for. First, an ordinance to authorize the continuance of 11 community reinvestment area tax incentive agreements in accordance with the recommendations of the Tax Incentive Review Council. So each year we review all of the tax abatements that we have out, and that Tax Incentive Review Council then makes the recommendation to you in the form of this ordinance to continue those or abolish them or move some with recommendations. So that's up for a vote tonight.
Excuse me, Jim. Those are not residential. Those are,
I believe those are all the commercial ones.
Commercial ones. Okay.
Secondly, we need some repairs on our units, our air conditioning units here at City Hall. So I'd like to enter into an ordinance with Ziegler Heating to repair 2 air conditioning units at the municipal building in an amount not to exceed $17,500. Funding will be taken from 412. Next is an ordinance authorizing the necessary leases, subleases, and agreements to preserve the Ashtabula Harbor conveyor bridge. We're not 100% there on all the language within the lease, but I think the spirit of which Mr. Franklin did memorialize in the ordinance for you is pretty much agreed upon at this point. So we wanted to make sure that as soon as we agree on this language, I do have your authorization to sign it. But in a nutshell, we have come up to the agreement that the city will lease the footprint that this sits on both the east and west side of the river. We will then sublease it to a group that is going to take ownership of the conveyor belt. And then we're going to be at the table with Norfolk Southern for any redevelopment of those properties going forward. And there's actually a pretty exciting partnership that they're looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to as well. So, besides maybe some survey work that needs to be done, I don't see any other funds at this point coming out of the city's coffers. And again, if there were anything that would be needed, I would come back to council for any of those authorizations. Does anybody have any questions on that one? I know we've kind of been stewing on that one for a little while.
I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
So what happens if the people that are going to sublease it decide not to sublease it?
Well, they're going to be the owners of the bridge, so they don't really have a choice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the whole thing seems kind of convoluted to me.
It is.
Like why are we making it so different? If they're going to own it, why don't they just lease it?
Well,
Like,
so Norfolk's
involvement in it.
Norfolk Southern does not. Norfolk Southern wants the city of Ashtabula at the table for the redevelopment of the 2 properties. They feel that if we own that lease that the structure is on, we have to be at the table. So I guess it kind of guarantees a little bit for them for the future. If all of us are gone and don't remember what happened here, it's kind of like their guarantee on this. And then what I have done by finding this other group is basically said, I'm trying to, we want it to stay. However, we know that feasibly, it's not, with our funds, we can't really do much with this thing, but there's other groups out there that feel it's important to preserve this for the future that have better access to different things than we do. So that's why we've kind of made it a little bit convoluted with this sublease and another entity taking ownership of the bridge.
So who's going to sublease it? How much are they going to pay us for it? And like, what are their plans?
So right now, we leasing it from Norfolk Southern doesn't cost us anything. So I don't anticipate charging the group anything for taking this on either for leasing it. It's the Ashtabula River Foundation. They also own the Coast Guard, or I'm sorry, they're leasing the Coast Guard station right now. So they could actually use a little bit more land for some of the different things that are going on at the old Coast Guard station. They are currently subleasing that or leasing that from the County Port Authority, who I got the federal government to give that to sell that building to. So this goes along with their plan for that side of the river as well. And they're willing to take it on for us at this point. They're also going to be a great partner in that redevelopment process. They bring a lot to the table when it comes to this. So again, we haven't inked anything yet, but all of those pieces have to fall in place before any of those documents are filed. So,
and what are their plans for it?
Well, right now, nothing. Right now, it's just making sure it's secure, making sure that it stays up. We will probably immediately look at placing the structure on the National Registry of Historic Places. So that does open up some funding down in the future if things are needed. And then we'll explore some different options of can something be done with it besides it, just being a focal point of our skyline.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. President, I have a question. Who's going to be responsible for the maintenance and the repair of the conveyor belt?
That will fall to the River Partnership.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the River Foundation.
Yeah. And they'll hold the insurance on it. And
that's correct.
Yeah.
Now, again, as I mentioned to you before, there may be a time where they come and say, hey, we need some help, and we would try to look at some vehicles and ways that we could assist them.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Any other questions about that? Okay. And then your last item, Jim, was?
Yeah, my last item is the paving. So the 2021 paving bid that we put out, I would like an ordinance to enter an agreement with NES Corp. Of Cleveland, Ohio, as the most responsive bid for the 2021 paving program, in the amount not to exceed $428,184.95. Funding for this expense will be taken from Fund 212, and that's the paving money.
428. Yeah. Okay. And those were the streets that you had given us before. Nothing was added. Nothing was deleted.
The alternate did make it through.
20.
So I think that was Ogden was we put in there as the alternate. So this is doing the base bid plus the alternate. So this is doing everything that we put out to bid.
Okay, but 23rd Street's not on there until
that's correct. We had to remove 23rd Street because Aqua is doing a water line replacement, and it's just not feasible for them to get that done in time for the paving. So. From what I understand, they may start sooner than later with the paving, which is good for us. So now do also remember another $300,000 is being set aside for Lake Avenue. That bid will be going out soon. They're doing some finishing touches to that. We cannot start that project till after July because we are using OPWC funds for that, and we don't sign grant agreements, and the funding isn't available till after July 1st. So, but we're going to have everything ready to roll. The bids will be out so that once July comes around, we can accept those bids and get that paving rolling, because I want that done by the end of the year. Aqua has, as most of you probably have seen, they've started their water line replacement going all the way to Smithfield from where they ended last year. So they're going to get that cut done, get their new water line in there. They're supposed to be done by mid-August to beginning of September. And then we plan on doing some work as they're wrapping up and then coming through and paving it right after that. So we're trying to get everything coordinated, and hopefully right now it looks like with how they're starting, we everything should fall in line the way we need it to. So for everybody that's complained about Lake Avenue needing paved, it's going to get paved, but you are going to complain about the construction out there until September. So be prepared.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I do have a question. So is the asphalt coming from Cleveland then, Jim?
I'm not positive where their plant is. We always try to get them to purchase locally. However, that has not panned out for us the last couple of years.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the manager?
Mr. Manager,
Yes.
I have a question about Walnut Boulevard, the cut in front of Brace's house again for the sewer. It's bad again.
Okay. Yeah, so the asphalt plant actually hasn't opened yet. We heard it was supposed to open this week. So that's kind of what we're waiting for, but we'll get out there and fill it tomorrow.
Okay, good. And also, have we heard anything about the church on the corner of West 4th and Lake Avenue? It's looking really, really bad.
Yes, it is. So right now, if I'm not mistaken, that has been forfeited. The Ashtabula County Land Reutilization Corporation owns some property around it. We're doing a land assembly on that. We're getting some quotes right now for what it would cost to have that demolished. And there is actually an RFP, a request for proposals out to developers. I think it's out on the street right now to redevelop that entire corner. So we're very interested to see what's going to happen with that corner.
Okay, great. Because I drove by it today and it's just such an eyesore.
Yep.
Okay, great.
That's all the requests that I have for tonight. I did want to share with you. The police department, along with planning and community development, we've done a little pilot program here for the last 4 weekends. What we've done is we've allowed one of our code enforcement officers these last 4 weekends. It's been Steve Lanham, our animal control / code enforcement officer, out on the road, and also one of our lieutenants, Chris DeFina, in our police department. And we've had them kind of targeting junk cars for the last 4 weekends. I'm extremely pleased to report that in those 4 hours for the last 4 weekends, so a total of 16 hours, they have towed 32 junk vehicles, 2 trailers, and 1 boat. And in conjunction with that, they've had over 50 residents comply with their orders to either remove junk cars or clean up property. In addition to that, they've located a ton of scrap tires on properties. They've had them present receipts from where they've gotten rid of tires. People have started to clean up their properties. And we even had a group of citizens this past weekend standing outside a residence applauding as 3 tow trucks showed up and removed a bunch of cars from a certain residence. So you may have or may not have heard some rumblings in the community about tow trucks showing up and pulling cars and claiming that we're stealing them and all this other fun stuff. The city, unfortunately, is not making a dime off of any of that. We're actually expending the overtime to have this process done so they can truly focus on it. However, I think it's made a pretty big difference, and we may continue this going forward. We're not just showing up and pulling cars. The one complaint we've heard the most is we're only giving people 72 hours. Well, again, we've been working with people. If we've seen, you've got 10 cars on your property and 3 of them are gone, we'll leave you alone for a little longer. But we have to see some effort by the residents that they're trying to clean things up. So that has been working pretty successfully, and just wanted you guys to be aware in case you've heard any grumblings about that or good comments about it.
Mr. President, thank you, Jim, for doing that. And what is the ordinance pertaining to cars, just so people out there know?
Yeah, so if you have an inoperable car, if it's got flat tires, if we can tell it hasn't moved, if it's got weeds growing up through it, you're not going to convince us that it's moved in quite some time. And if it's not registered, a current valid plate, It also has to be parked on a driveway or on a surface like a driveway. It can't be parked in the front yard or in the backyard or along the side of the garage. Those are all considered, junk vehicles. And again, mostly it's the being inoperable and not licensed. Those are the two that we find the most. We find them on jack stands that have been that way for a long time. But obviously the big key is when you have grass growing up around it, and, we know it hasn't moved. And I would say 90% of the cars that we've removed up until we've given them this time to go out there and look for it as well, have been resident complaints. It's not like we've been, we get enough of that. We don't need to go out there looking on our own. The residents do call us about that. So we've responded accordingly. Yeah,
any other questions?
That was one of the comments that we heard too. What's the new legislation? It's nothing new. This has been on the books forever. We've decided that, we understand people's frustration. It's our frustration too. And it took a lot of effort coordinating with the tow companies, the police department, and with our enforcement office to make that happen. And that's why we have to do it at times where they're not normally working, so they can focus strictly on that and get that done. But so, like I said, so far it's been very successful.
Mr. President, just another question, Jim, and I know you and I have discussed this, and the police have certainly been very helpful with this, but I know three-wheelers, unlicensed vehicles going up and down streets has been a concern. Do you want to just speak on that?
Yeah, so I mean, they're not allowed. You're not allowed to ride your, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, golf carts, all that stuff up and down the roads. Especially we hear the most complaints about dirt bikes and four-wheelers. Please just don't do it. We have caught a few people. We unfortunately had a father and a son riding through one of the neighborhoods, and the father left the 12-year-old to be pulled over by our police department. So real genius there. So we will end up catching up with you, and you'd be surprised how the neighbors point the directions that you're going in, so that we do find where they're coming from. But yes, it's extremely annoying. Again, it's kind of like the sound systems. Grow up, take your vehicles out to the country and ride them around, find some property. There's wonderful places for people to go to do all those things. Don't do it in the city.
Anybody else? Good.
Mr. President, I do.
Yes.
Okay, you said the ordinance has been in place for a while for the cars, the junk cars. What about the tires and mattresses and all that other stuff? I think it's a great thing that you're doing, because I've seen really results here on my street. Yeah. And I just was wondering if there's a way that we can kind of, have the same format to walk through the neighborhoods and see the mattresses. And I have people here with picnic tables on the front lawn, trash cans out front. If there's some way that we can enforce that as well.
We do enforce all those things. The difference being when it comes to the mattresses, junk, or garbage and tires and things like that, we would have to physically go on the property and remove them ourselves and then be responsible for throwing it away. We just don't have the staff to do it. When it comes to the cars, the tow company takes responsibility of those cars. There's a whole section of ORC that does that. So there have been cases though where an owner has not cleaned up the property, and then we've given the orders to go on the property and clean that up. One of the properties where let's see, the report came in that there was a total and crushed car on the property that we got out of there a little while back, a few months ago. We actually took 6,400 pounds of material from that property as well. We had to bring a front end loader in. And then, we take those charges and we put them on the taxes when it's all done. But that house was an extreme nuisance that we had to take care of. I think that was over on West 38th Street that we did that one. But yes, we do send notices all the time for houses that have the tires and mattresses and everything.
So once a complaint has been filed, do you contact the landlord or?
We usually do both. If it's a landlord tenant, we'll send a notice to the house, the actual house where the garbage is, to the tenant, and then we will also copy the landlord on that, so they both know. Yes.
Well, good. I agree with Ladine and with Jane. I think it's a great thing, and I think it's going to snowball, and people are going to be happy about that, and it's going to spread more. So, good.
I'm just thrilled with the 50 plus that have complied. I mean, that makes it real easy. So, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Franklin is not with us this evening. Ms. Welch, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, I do, Mr. President Roskowitz. As I have an appropriation, supplemental appropriation request in the general and CDBG funds. Does anybody have any questions about those things? They're just minimal items that, and then the next thing I have is the deadline to file your city income tax return is May 17th, beginning Monday, May 10th through Friday, May 14th, and again on Monday, the 17th. The finance office on the second floor of the KeyBank building will be staffed to accept income tax filers, and that will be between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. And also the finance office is gearing up to submit the list of delinquent sewer and trash bills to the county auditor for property tax assessments. The last day to pay delinquent amounts that were billed through December 31st of 2020 is Monday, May 24th of 2021. Please note that the payment must be received by our office no later than May 24th. It's not by the postmark, it's received by our office. And then if payments are received after that point, they'll be applied to the customer's accounts for credit against future bills, and the delinquent amount will still be assessed. And that's all I have, if there's no questions.
You'll repeat that again for
absolutely.
When the public is on. Yes.
Right.
Thank you, Ms. Well.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Welch and her team on the Excellence Award.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a lot of hard work, and I have a wonderful staff that helped me. And I also have to give credit to local government services as well through the state auditor's office that take all of our information and they compile it into that nice little document that we have to produce every year. And if it wasn't for a great team there, it would be a lot more cumbersome. So I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Maybe Ms. Haynes, you'll mention that also in our public meeting when everyone's here.
I can. What was the exact name of the award, so I name it correctly?
Of course you would ask that. I don't have it at home with me to give you the official title. Stacy, do you have it in my email?
I'll find it.
Yeah,
I apologize.
It was in our email. Yeah.
An award for excellence in financial reporting, I think, is it's from local government finance officers association.
All right, Ms. Sensky, do you have anything this evening?
I'm just going to talk to you about, I'm going to request an ordinance to update the codified ordinances, and I'll talk to you about that in the next meeting.
Okay. All right, and then Mr. Crawford, do you have a Public Works report?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and Mr. Spillman, you have a safety force report?
Yes, I do.
You had a meeting. Okay, good. So we'll have those also. Okay. I see 7 o'clock. Mr. Timoneer, do you see 7 o'clock? Okay, so we'll begin our meeting. We will call our regular council meeting for Monday, May the 3rd, 2021 to order. Miss Foglio, will you lead us in the prayer?
Yes. Heavenly Father, we ask you to let your inspiration precede this council's actions and all present here today, and your assistance further us so that every word and work of ours may take its beginning from you, and so begun, may through you reach its completion. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Sensky?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Sensky. And our citizens are reminded that they're welcome to send in their pictures of their American flags, and they'll be featured at our meetings. Ms. Sensky, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mrs. Foglio.
Here.
Mr. Crawford.
Here.
Ms. Young.
Here.
Ms. Harris.
Here.
Ms. Haynes.
Here.
Mr. Spielman.
Here.
Mr. Roskovics.
Here.
Mr. Timonier.
Here.
Ms. Welch.
Here.
And Mr. Franklin.
Is absent.
Is absent. Yeah, sorry.
So that's okay. We do have a quorum established this evening, and we are meeting the requirements of the Sunshine Law. Being the first of our meeting of the month, we will have our COVID-19 update from our City Health Commissioner, Ms. Hill. Thank you, Ms. Hill.
You're welcome. Good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody. I want to start with giving you some statistics. So today for the City Health Department, we're following 24 active positive cases. We have a total of 1,410 positive cases for the city. We've released 1,306 folks with their symptoms resolved. We have no current deaths, but we have a total death count of 30. We have no one currently in the hospital, and we have a total hospitalized count of 89. The staff has been working very hard to get vaccine out. We've administered 5,632 vaccines. So, that's a lot of hustle for a small department. Our first dose vaccinations have slowed down a good bit. We're using a lot of different strategies to try to, encourage people to come and get vaccinated. We are doing some things like pairing up with workplaces, that is a heavy lift, having to go in at as early as 6 a.m, to catch that first shift. But, we will definitely do what it takes. We've paired up, I know, with Lay Dean's Church, People's Baptist Church. They've hosted us several times to get into the neighborhood and to give some vaccines there. That was very helpful. We've done things like converted to a pop-up drive-through model. So if the day is nice, we open up our emergency response trailer and people just drive in. And that seems to have worked pretty well to capture some folks. We've also, many afternoons, just post a sign that people can just walk down to the health department, walk in. So we're using different strategies that we can think of, and we're open to any suggestions or any ideas or any group of people that we could reach for vaccination. We've been very pleased with our second dose vaccine clinics. We've had a very high rate of uptake. Very few people miss their second dose here in the city. And we work very hard with those who don't make their second dose clinic to find a clinic to get them in. So that seems to be the update. We are having another drive-through clinic out here in the municipal parking lot this coming Thursday, and that date will be the 6th. We'll be out there from 2 in the afternoon to 5:30 in the afternoon. And we'll be offering both J&J vaccine and Moderna vaccine. So we have both vaccines. The J&J pause was lifted about a week ago. We have modified our handouts that we're giving to people after they get vaccinated, especially if they get the J&J vaccine, with an emphasis on those side effects for that rare blood clot event that could happen. But we certainly would want no one to be caught off guard with side effects. So we have modified a new handout that specifically talks about when to call the doctor, when to be alert to a rare adverse event with J&J. So we do have that modification, and we're ready for that. But honestly, all the vaccines, people are doing very well with them. We still have the VAERS system, the vaccine adverse reporting system that we use on rare occasions when we do have something to report. I do want to say that, I wish I was coming to you with better news, but, the county of Ashtabula is in some trouble here with our numbers. We are holding the 6th worst position in the state of Ohio for positive cases. We are number 6. We're the only counties that have more cases than us, and this is cases per 100,000 residents, are Lucas County, Erie County, Cuyahoga County, Defiance, and Summit. Ashtabula is sitting right there in 6th place. The statewide average cases is 155.6. We're at 209.8. Those are just not good numbers. And I know here in the city, we've had quite a few positive cases, quite a few family positive cases. We're really struggling with, our folks that are in the Hispanic community. A lot of the cases in the last 2 weeks have been related to those folks, and we're very pleased and proud to partner with Lake City Plating. They are going to allow us to come into the plant and do some vaccinating. We've sent material ahead in Spanish, frequently asked questions, that type of thing, so that there's a comfort level, and we hope to be able to vaccinate some folks in that high-risk community there. The other item that I really wanted to talk to you about was just to mention the state of Ohio's budget bill. It is House Bill 110, and there are some real concerns with that House bill. It's a very large bill, as you can imagine. It's the budget bill for the state of Ohio, and buried deep in those pages, 3,000 pages, is some verbiage that talks about city health departments. And the original verbiage that was introduced was not what's in it now. Originally, there was some language about if a health department wanted to do a study or wanted to consider a voluntary merger with another health department, that the state would provide some money for studying that and to assist with that merger. That was the original language. And that language got changed to abolishing city health departments that served less than 50,000 people. Well, as you can imagine, that caused, quite an uproar, and just felt like a real gut punch after, a year of all out responding and, doing such a fabulous job with COVID. There were many letters and protests sent to the House of Representatives. I had communication with Sarah Fowler Arthur, our representative, and sent a memo in protest and in opposition of that language. The language has been changed, but and so now the House has passed a version and is now in the Senate. The House's language was changed from complete abolishment to city health departments of that size. To health departments of that size will have to undergo efficiency study, a feasibility study, and other criteria that's to be determined by the Ohio Department of Health and the auditor. And again, with the threat of closing, your local health department. So again, we're fighting that good battle. I worked to develop some testimony that I sent down to the Senate Health Committee that is looking at this portion of the bill right now. My points being that, we're your local health department. These are your local services. I feel very strongly that those decisions about your services should be decided locally, not down in Columbus. And I feel strongly that we have a great relationship with our community, a unique relationship with partners and others in our community to provide these services that a larger health department from Lake County or Chusa County would have no idea about. So that's my number one point. My number 2 point is that it's very redundant to do this. We're already required to become accredited, and accreditation is absolutely touted as that gold standard of efficiency and effectiveness. So that's already mandated, and that's already in the legislation. To require us to in the middle of a pandemic, put resources toward doing a feasibility study seems just madness to me. At a time when they should be sending us resources and building us up, they're causing a lot of extra anxiety here. So I did want to call your attention to it. I know Jim's been a good partner in, talking us through some of the ins and outs of how things work down there in Columbus. I do have concerns. I have concerns about centralizing our public health services. Our folks have difficulty with transportation as it is. And, if you move those services, 15 miles away down in Jefferson, that's just not a good move. That will only deepen that disparity that we see in our folks. So anyway, I did want to make you aware. I'm happy to share my testimony letter with you folks. I'm happy to share any of the memorandums I've written. We have had a lot of great support. Our city schools sent a letter in opposition and a letter of support, as did the other, the county health department absolutely does not want to see this happen. We could have used 10 times the health departments this past year that we have. So I just wanted to give you that report more as an awareness level, but certainly please reach out to, Senator Sandra O'Brien, reach out to Representative Sarah Fowler Arthur. They need to hear your voices. If you value the services of this health department, I think you need to be heard. So I do appreciate your support, and I know you've supported us in the past. And I know Stacy sent the resolution that you all presented to us just weeks ago. I know she forwarded that, and I do appreciate that so much. So that's really the end of my report. Happy to discuss or take questions.
Mr. President, just keeping on expounding on House Bill 110. You guys know my position on this. I think it's disgraceful what they're doing down there. But let's look past the pandemic. What you guys don't hear about or see a lot is the times that we have families come in for our health department to check head lice. The times that families come in for all other different vaccines, when back to school starts, how they come to our health department to get records so that they can show that the schools that their children have been vaccinated. If they didn't have certain vaccines, they can get those in our health department, without having to deal with the doctor's offices. Some people that don't have doctor's offices or physicians, family physicians. Birth and death certificates. You guys would be amazed how many birth and death certificates that we provide out of our office daily. It seems like down there. So looking past the pandemic and looking past, let's make no mistake about this. This is 100% party politics in Columbus. This is 100% about saying, we don't want bigger government, but the hell, we're going to create as much big government as we can to limit what you're allowed to do locally. Here again, I doubt that I know that none of our current representatives have ever stepped foot in this building, let alone into our health department since they've been in office. So to say that they're acting on our best behalf down there without even contacting us is a farce. And I don't think you'll find one local health department anywhere that thinks this is a good idea. Ms. Hill spoke about accreditation. We have spent thousands of dollars by this mandate from the state of Ohio, unfunded yet again, trying to get accredited, which they did not pull back on any of the strings of getting accredited during this pandemic when they're all yelling and screaming, make sure your community is tested, make sure you're giving out vaccines, at 120% speed. We've still had to go through all those hoops. And now to say, well, now we're going to make you go through another study. Well, I will be sure that we fail that study to make sure that our health department stays. We're not giving up our health department. I don't care what they pass down there. Our health department's going to remain.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I have some questions. So for the viewers that are listening, can you just let them know how they would contact? I don't know that everybody that's listening would have that awareness of how to contact the state representative and the state senator.
I called the state representative, our county representative, identified myself as the city council president, which I seldom do, and I didn't hear anything back. But there are phone numbers that you can call. There are addresses that are published in the paper. But yeah, there's phone numbers right on the thing that you can call.
You can look up ohiohouse.gov. You can actually type in your address and it will give you all of your representatives and contact information there right on the first page. So just go to ohiohouse.gov and that'll give you those. And as Mr. Roskovich says, it's usually always printed in the paper as well.
Or ohiosenate.gov. So those are the two, legislative bodies, the Senate and the House. And I have found, President Roskovich, that it's better to do an email. All of them have a way to email them. And once that's documented in writing as an email, you will get some kind of response back. You're right. The phone calls sometimes go unreturned.
Right. Yeah. I think when I first heard about it, I was just so, I don't know what word to use. I'm thinking this can't be true. So I got right on the phone and called and you're right. Maybe I should follow that up with an email. It's just to echo what Mr. Timonir said, this is just ridiculous. It was ridiculous when two of our county officials went to Columbus to testify against health measures. And then those kind of things lead to these kind of things. And like I said, this is more than a pandemic. We have a lot of lower income people, elderly people, just a lot of situations where that health department has served us for years.
And Mr. President, just so you're aware, Ms. Hill and I did discuss driving down to Columbus on Thursday to do this. Unfortunately, fortunately, we do believe a lot of people will be testifying, against this, which is a good thing. But unfortunately, we don't have the time to take 2 days to go testify for 5 minutes down there. But Ms. Hill did submit that testimony. It's very good testimony, which she submitted. So I think our message got across.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hill. But before we let you go, I will say, I did see on the news tonight, Ohio is at a 40% vaccination rate. But the number you gave us, I think Ashtabula City is probably in the 20%.
What you got to keep in mind, though, is we're vaccinating. Of course, we're focusing on our folks, but we vaccinated people from all over. Okay. So you're right. If you looked at it, if it was just our city residents, we'd be way over 50% probably. But we're vaccinating folks really from all over. We don't turn anyone away. But we have made, between us, the hospital, and our other vaccine providers, we've made a great dent in vaccinating folks.
Good.
It's amazing to me how all those partners working together have made that difference. But we still have work to go, and I really want to make sure that anybody who wants a vaccine can get a vaccine.
Right.
I just want to make that available. And I do want to say that I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your support and your, helping us with this House Bill 110. I appreciate Jim's words about our daily duties. We have a very hardworking environmental health department that checks your restaurants and your pools and your marinas, smoke-free workplace law, the mobile home parks. Just, the thing about a health department, when it's functioning well, we're pretty quiet. You're not going to hear about those outbreaks. You're not going to hear about those problems because we're mitigating and we're handling those problems before they become big problems. So, yeah, and that's kind of the yin and the yang of that. So, thanks again, though.
Thank you. Anybody?
I do have one more question. I'm
Go right
sorry.
ahead. Yeah.
So on Thursday, May 6th, you said there's a pop-up drive-through, so no appointment necessary?
Right. No appointment necessary. No insurance necessary. We require none of that. None of that. We don't need ID. We just need you to pull in, park your car. We'll give you some paperwork to take home. We'll vaccinate you right there through the window, have you sit in your car for the 15-minute observation, and you can leave. So we try to make it as simple as possible. And we will give them their return date right then and there too.
And you said you're offering J&J and Moderna?
And Moderna.
Do they get the choice, or is it just?
No, they get the choice. They can tell us what they'd like.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, Ms. Hill, that was from 2 to
5:30, hour after, most people are done with work, to give them an opportunity to come in. And we may do some evening clinics coming up. We just have to find a week that it's not raining every single solitary day. So we're waiting for a little bit better weather.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have a question also, or it's actually kind of two questions. One, you said that you don't even have to have an ID to get the shot. So how are these being tracked then? If you don't even have to have an ID, they just give you the shot card and you tell them a name. And
they have to fill out a patient record. There's a patient demographic form that they fill out information about themselves, and then we take that information back and create a record for them electronically here in the health department. So that's it. Okay,
but there's no ID required though.
Not by us. We don't require ID. We didn't want to put any barriers in front of people. So that's why we did it.
So kind of a second part to that question. You mentioned earlier that the first shot is kind of slowing down. Do you think that's because of a lack of access to it, or people just aren't going to get it?
I don't know for sure what the answer is. I think it's multi-pronged answer. I think that those people that were just absolutely driven and desperate to get it, we've seen that rush come and we've serviced them. Now I think we're to a younger demographic that I think some people do desire it, but that it just has to be completely convenient for them. A lot of times they don't want to make that commitment of an appointment. And that's why drive-in, drive-through, pop-up, walk-in is a good model for that group of folks, because then if it's the right day at the right time, hopefully they'll stop. So, but I do think, and then I think there's a certain sliver of folks that are just not going to get it. They just are not. And then I think there's a certain sliver of folks that are still maybe hesitant or on the fence or need more information or we need to be more accessible to them, get into their neighborhoods, something. So I think it's a multi-pronged answer, if that was helpful.
Because it's still just like a provisional FDA approval right now, right? It's not fully approved by the FDA.
Right. It's emergency use authorization. All the vaccines, emergency use authorization, EUA.
Right. Because I'm sure that's keeping some folks away, the concern that they don't know what they're getting put into their body.
Oh yeah, you absolutely have that, and those ingredients are made available to you. You do, it is disclosed, you do know, but because some people just are very concerned about exactly what you're saying, we'll see that hesitancy.
And Mr. Spielman, you make some very good, very valid points with that. And yes, we, again, you add on top of that social media and conspiracy theories and everything else, and that the vaccine has a chip in it, that that it's changing your DNA and all that fun stuff. I was just talking with the staff of the health department this morning. I think one of the most effective ads I've seen is from I believe he's the director of COSI in Cleveland. Where he says, here's I think it's like 5 or 6 ingredients that are in the vaccine, and then he holds up, which is far less than a candy bar and far less than a can of Coca-Cola. I thought that was probably one of the most effective ads that I've seen when it came to the vaccine. But no, there's no doubt that people are hesitant. They have every right to be hesitant. But I think the more that we educate ourselves on what's happening, I still see this thrown around that everybody's scrambling and doing all this stuff for a virus that has a 98% survival rate. Well, there's almost 600,000 people dead. So if you're going to guarantee me that you're going to be part of the 2% and my family are not, I'm all about it. But until that time, I think we all got to do things that people talk about what an inconvenience this all is. Well, I'm sure a little bit has been an inconvenience on people, but when you look around, what has really stopped? People have still, gone on about their days and gone on about different things. Yes, it hurt businesses. There's been a lot of things provided for businesses to try to make it through. We're trying, but the quicker we get to a point, the better for all of us. And I understand everybody's hesitancy, and I understand that unfortunately there's a lot more politics behind this than actual using our brains, unfortunately. And that's been from day one when this started.
I always talk to people about that risk and benefit. And one thing we do understand, or understanding better and better, is the effects that virus can have on your body. And, we know that, that it could be very, very, very bad for some folks. So we just, ask people to consider that. And, the vaccines are living up to their promise of, reducing severe disease, reducing hospitalizations, reducing death. That's what they promised, and they're living up to it, as evidenced by our long-term care numbers are so much better.
Mr. President, Mr. Timonier, are you putting that out on Facebook, that date?
It's already out there.
Oh, it is? Okay.
On Facebook, it's on Facebook, Instagram, and it's already on our website.
Okay, I'll share it. Thank you.
Anything else? I just say Kim and I will remember it. I'll give away our age, but we used to go to school. Remember, they'd line us up in the gym and give us that sugar cube. If they had those sugar cubes, we'd be in good shape, I think. But okay, well, Ms. Hill, thank you.
I think I'm sorry, Mr. Rossi, but that's another important thing. While we may be experiencing this little bit of a lull, I know as a parent, I'm very eager to get my 2 children vaccinated. They fall in that 12 to 15 range, so they're not 16 yet for the Pfizer, but we know that Pfizer and Moderna are both exploring the younger age population. So I think there's a lot of parents like me that like we had that first initial rush, we're going to have yet another initial rush. Miss Hill and I both know somebody that's close to all of us whose daughter is suffering some long-term effects from the virus. She actually had it back in March of 2020 when this all started, and is still now has some neurological issues and different things that have just all of a sudden reared their ugly head that the greatest doctors at the Cleveland Clinic have traced back to being what they call long hauler syndrome from COVID. She's a young girl with a whole future ahead of her that's now has all these different obstacles in front of her because of it. So, those are the things, just like we don't know the vaccine and the true picture of it. Well, we don't know the long-term effects of what COVID is. And especially now with these variants coming out, we think one of the reasons that we're seeing a lot of this stuff in the families that we didn't maybe see before, where a whole household is getting it immediately, is that these variants are much more contagious. So, it's a whole different ball game. And the more that people get this, the more that it evolves and the more that it morphs and the more that it becomes the variant, and we continue it. So just got to hang on a little bit longer, hopefully.
Okay,
Well,
guys, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Stacy, do you have minutes for us this evening? Ms. Sensky, do you have minutes for us?
Yeah, I do. But do you want to suspend the council rules of order tonight?
Oh, we could do that also. Could I have a motion to suspend council rules of order?
So moved, Ward 1.
Motion by Ms. Foglio, second by Mr. Roskovich. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes,
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, we will suspend the rules by a 7-0 vote. Ms.
Thank
Sensky, you have minutes for us?
April 19th, 2021 regular meeting of the Ashtabula City Council was called to order at 7 p.m. by the council president. The Ward 3 councilor offered the opening prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance was recited by Ashtabula Area City Schools 7th grade student Corbin Schaefer. Members present were Ms. Haynes, Mr. Crawford, Ms. Young, Ms. Harris, Mr. Spielman, and Mr. Roskovich. Officers present were Mr. Timonier, Mr. Franklin, Ms. Welch, and Mrs. Sensky. Ms. Haynes moved, Ms. Harris seconded to excuse the Ward 1 councilor's absence from the meeting. Motion carried.
Could I have a motion for the minutes?
So moved, Ward 1.
Second, Ward 4.
Motion by Ms. Foglio, second by Ms. Harris. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
yes,
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, the minutes will stand by a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Mr. Manager, do you have a report for us this evening?
I do. Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would like an ordinance to authorize the continuance of 11 community reinvestment area tax incentive agreements in accordance with the recommendations of the Tax Incentive Review Council.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Ward 3 second.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Ms. Foglio moves, Ms. Young seconds. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
yes,
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, we will add that item by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with Ziegler Heating of Ashtabula, Ohio for the repair of 2 air conditioning units at the municipal building in the amount not to exceed $17,500. Funding for this expense will be taken from Fund 412.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
I'll second.
Ms. Foglio moves, Ms. Haynes second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr.
Mrs.
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
President, sorry, it was asked earlier about these. Just for clarification, these are all commercial abatements. There's no residential in these ones.
On the 11 CRA.
That's
yeah.
correct. Mhm.
Okay, now this vote is on the air conditioning units. Please call
Okay.
the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes,
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes. So hopefully we'll get to use the air conditioners. Okay. Mr. Timonier?
I apologize for that. I was trying to look for the ordinance on that, and I was one ordinance later.
No.
So next, I would like an ordinance to authorize the necessary leases, subleases, and agreements to preserve the Ashtabula Harbor Conveyor Bridge.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Ms. Foglio moves.
Ward 2 will second.
Mr. Crawford will second. Is there any discussion? I would just say kudos to Mr. Timoneer for putting this puzzle together. I think I'm excited to see this piece of our history saved. And like you say, I'm hope that this will end up on the historic registry, and just it's a vital part of our harbor. So, anybody else? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, we will add that by a 7-0 vote.
And lastly, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with NES Corp. of Cleveland, Ohio as the most responsive bid for the 2021 paving program in the amount not to exceed $428,184.95. Funding for this expense will be taken from Fund 212.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Ms. Foglio moves. Mr. Roskovich will second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, we will add that item by a 7-0 vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just again, as I mentioned in pre-council, just remember also that we've set aside $300,000 for the paving of Lake Avenue. That's about an $800,000 project. We will be going out to bid for that soon. So those people that want to see that portion of Lake Avenue repaved, they're going to see some construction early on with Aqua replacing the water line. That project is supposed to last right up until mid-August, early September, beginning of September, and then we will start our project sometime in August as well, and we'll be paving the rest of Lake Avenue. So remember, that's from the intersection at West Avenue and Lake and Carpenter all the way down to West 9th Street. That portion will be paved. Okay. As I also mentioned in pre-council, we've been doing a little pilot program between the police department and code enforcement in the planning and community development department. Happy to report we've done this over 4 weekends. We've sent some guys out for 4 hours apiece, strictly focused on doing code enforcement with junk vehicles and some junk in the residential areas. And of those 4 weekends, 16 hours basically, we've had 32 vehicles towed. 2 trailers and 1 boat. We've had over 50 people comply with orders to remove junk vehicles or clean up property. So far it's been very effective. We've also had some good reports of conversations with neighbors and neighborhoods about what we were doing and complying with those with the ordinances that we have on to keep the neighborhoods looking good and looking safe. Also want to send a huge thank you to those that participated in the various cleanups we've had since our last council meeting. This past weekend, we had a cleanup here on Main Avenue, had a lot of people out. It was really, really nice between the Ashtabula Downtown Development Association and the I'm an Amazing Ashtabula group. Both of them did a great job. We even had some of the kids from the YO program out as well. So really want to thank them for helping out sprucing up Main Avenue as we start the springtime. Mr. President, that's all I have for my report.
Thank you. Anybody? Mr. Timmon, I know Miss Foglio mentioned about Walnut Boulevard, and the asphalt plant. Also, I know you know this, but Union Avenue has that rather bad disruption in it also.
Yeah. So a lot of the cuts that we're seeing, I know it's hard to keep in mind, but over the winter time, those are all just temporary repairs.
Right.
Most of the ones that are cut by Aqua, I believe they have a contract with a local company. As soon as the asphalt plant opens up, they go out and do all those patches at once. And then of course we can get the asphalt for the ones that we have to do as well for our cuts, specifically, the one on Union and the one over on Walnut as well. So as soon as that plant opens up and we're able to get material, we'll be out there making those permanent repairs.
I just wanted to throw that in. Okay. Anybody else have anything for the manager?
Mr. President,
Yes.
on the paperwork, just so we're clear, there's a ordinance of 2021-50. Is that one missed? That was authorizing city manager into a contract with Jefferson Healthcare for the purpose of providing. Is that on that too? Did you
Yeah,
miss that one?
Mr.
Mr.
President?
Crawford, I requested that at the last meeting.
Yeah.
All right, it was just never taken off the paperwork for this one.
No, I requested it be drafted for this meeting.
Okay, all
So I
right.
requested it at the last meeting.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Mr. Franklin is not with us this evening. Miss Welch, do you have some additions?
Yes, Mr. Roskis, thank you. I am formally requesting an ordinance to make supplemental increases to appropriations in the general and CDBG funds for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Ashtabula, state of Ohio, for the period of January 1 through December 31st, 2021.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move on the finance director's recommendation.
Ms. Foglio moves.
Second, Ward 2.
Mr. Crawford will second. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roskovics.
Yes, we will add that item by a 7-0 vote. Anything else, Ms. Welch?
Yes, next, I wanted to tell everyone the deadline to file your city income tax return is May 17th, beginning Monday, May 10th through Friday, May 14th, and again on Monday, May 17th. The finance office on the second floor of the Key Bank building will be staffed to accept income tax filings between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. And secondly, the finance office is gearing up to submit their list of delinquent sewer and trash bills to the county auditor's office for property tax assessment. The last day to pay delinquent amounts that were billed through December 31st of 2020 is Monday, May 24th of 2021. Please note that your payment must be received in our office no later than May 24th, not postmarked. It has to be received by us. And if we receive your payment after that date, it will be applied to the customer's account as a credit against future bills, and the delinquent amount will still be assessed. Does anyone have any questions? And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Welch.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Sensky?
Yes, I would like to formally request an ordinance to approve the current replacement pages to the Ashtabula codified ordinances.
I will make a motion to do so.
Seconded by Ward 1.
Second by Ms. Foglio. Is there any discussion on the replacement pages?
Mr. President,
Yes.
there were about, well, we're amending 28 sections due to state law changes. And then we have the one update in our building code referring to the insurance.
Requiring insurance.
Yep, requiring the insurance. That would be ordinance number 2021-15 that we passed on February 1st.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Then all the other ones are state changes that we pretty much have.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
okay. Any other questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovics.
Yes, we will add that by a 7-0 vote. Anything else, Ms. Sensky, at this time?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Haynes, do you have a community development?
So we will be having a meeting on May 11th, that's tomorrow. And
No, that's next week.
I mean, that's next, I knew that. I wanted to see if next week, May 11th at 4:00.
Okay. Do we have any guests that week or?
Yes, many guests.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Foglio?
Yes, we have a meeting on Friday, May 21st at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, very good. I believe this evening we have a Public Works report, Mr. Crawford.
Yes, Mr. President. We held a Public Works meeting on April 26th via Zoom. We had a special guest of Mark Astorino and Miss Christine Seifert from the Ashtabula Area City Schools. And they came just to present and to get the word out for passing the school levy that is actually on the ballot for tomorrow. The school board levy is requesting a 3.8 mil levy. And they said about 71% of that money will go straight to the classrooms. So that'll help all the kids out in the city. If anyone is looking for any factual information about the issue, which is issue 8, it can be found on the district's website, which is www.aacs.net. Also, they have a Facebook page that is Yes for Ashtabula Area City Schools. If you were wondering, you could go to the Ashtabula County Auditor's website, and there's a levy estimator that you could figure out what it would add to your taxes for your personal house or property. You don't want to take money away from the kids because that'll hurt their grades. So if you could get money into the classrooms, that'll help the grading levels for the schools. So the schools need that to keep moving and advancing the kids that are going. We had for Public Works, the staffing is completing now routine maintenance, filling potholes, and they have started mowing. Don't know when they're getting in there with all the rain, but hey, they're getting in there. They do have seasonal help in that is hired to maintain the parks. The city manager had to remind everyone again, do not throw trash outside the transfer station. That is for bags of leaves and yard cleanup only. They've found it again. People are dropping off garbage, and if it doesn't stop, that whole service to the city is going to have to be stopped so it doesn't waste so much of the Public Works people's time. So please stop throwing trash. Throw what's supposed to be there where it needs. Currently, they are actually looking at putting cameras up to try to catch someone who is doing and Mr. Schnimmer said he would be more than glad to give them have a ticket wrote for them to make an example. So please don't throw trash there. Curbside pickup for leaf bags is going on and is scheduled, can be found on the city's website. The paving project, which Mr. Timonier just mentioned, for tonight, you will see possibly city crews assessing catch basins, manhole covers, and making repairs on some of the streets that they're going to do, which in the long run will help the city save money because we're able to do it instead of paying someone else actually to do it. Also, what Mr. Timonier said, the Lake Avenue project will actually be later in the year, so it is going to happen, but it's a second step of the paving projects. The light poles at Masucci Field have been held up due to snow. Fixtures were in. Mr. Timonier, have those went up yet, or is it still down?
They actually went up last week.
Okay, so it is up. And that is actually was no cost to the city because it was covered under the city's insurance because it was damaged by the weather. There has been many cleanups scheduled around over the last couple of weekends. Sanitation crews actually went out into some bad areas and picked up stuff early. And they got, at one location, 2,200 pounds of garbage and 22 tires. So please don't throw your stuff away. We have spots for people who can throw stuff away. City manager and a lot of the people from council that were there wanted to thank all the volunteers that did come out and the people that were out there and are respecting their community and the state and trying to make sure it's clean. So kudos to everybody out there and thank you for that. There is a tire amnesty program going on Saturday, May 15th from 9 to 1 o'clock at the Ashtabula County Fairgrounds. If you can't make to that, you can bring them to the transfer station and the city charges, I believe, $2 per tire. Correct, Mr. Timonier?
It's $2 or $3 per tire if it's off the rim. Yes,
off
it's a
the
little bit more expensive if it's on the rim.
rim. So we do have outlets in the city, and that's not that expensive. You can get it disposed of properly. Waste pollution control. The bid specs for the bar rake are being analyzed before a bid package is released, because that bar rake is going to take 10 to 12 weeks to be built. And city manager's hoping that maybe they could use some of the American Rescue Plan Act funds to help offset the cost of the comprehensive study that the city is going to do for all the lines through the city, all the pump stations, the waste treatment plant. That'll actually help us see where we need to go and what needs attention that we don't already know needs attention, but this will give us a path forward on that. Also along that, with projects that are going on, is the upcoming project of the Lake Road outfall repair, which is ODOT's kicking in $50,000 to an estimated $150,000 to a $200,000 project. So that's going to be coming up. And another thing is, if you see street lights out, since now it's starting to get nicer, people are out walking around. If you see street lights are out, you could go to the city's website and you can report the street lights. Try to get the pole number off of it. It's a lot easier if you have the pole number, but the city, which means the taxpayers, pay for those lights even if they're off. So they're there to help secure, make people safe. So please, if you see them, and we under that new agreement, so if the light's bad, it should be switching to an LED light also. So it'll be more energy efficient. So please get out there. If you do happen to see some, please report those. Our next meeting is actually scheduled for May 24th at 5 p.m. via Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Crawford mentioned the school levy tomorrow. Also, he mentioned the parks, and don't forget that there's a park levy tomorrow also. And then, Mr. Crawford, will you be announcing the dates and the seating for the city council pickleball tournament?
You know, I might have went in on that, or at least I could throw my son in. Maybe my son would be able to.
Okay, I just didn't know if you had that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Crawford.
Mr. President, since you brought up the pickleball tennis courts there, we've had a little bit of an issue with skateboarders being on those courts that we've had to, the police department has had to warn to stay off of. We're having new signs made up. They should be in the next couple weeks here with rules for the courts as well. But please, I mean, we're trying to have nice things. Let's keep nice things and not destroy it with that. I know the lights are on over there too, so you can play a little bit later at night. But yeah, no skateboarding, no wheels of any kind on that surface, because it will tear it up.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Mr. Spielman, you have a report for us?
I do.
Thank you.
We met Monday, April 26th. From the police department, Chief Stell reports his statistics are pretty much on par with any other March. Weather's starting to get nicer, so the calls for service are up slightly. The Ward 3, Miss Ladine there, she suggested to Chief Stell, or asked if they had ever done any sort of training with the schools for young folks about their what conduct is expected of them if they are pulled over by the police or they're approached by a police officer. The concern being that a lot of young folks don't realize maybe what the appropriate behavior is when they're being talked to by a police officer. So she suggested that Chief Stell work with the local schools, maybe the resource officers, to get some sort of actual training, sit down and talk to these kids so they realize what to do when they're approached by a police officer. So Ladine suggested it. Chief Stell was very receptive about the idea. So hopefully that takes some traction and some young folks can get some information on how to conduct themselves when they're approached by a police officer to possibly save some heartache. From Chief Gruber at the fire department, same thing. His responses were about normal for March, a bit of an uptick because of the nicer weather. He did mention that they're responding to a lot of yard waste fires, not accidental, intentional yard waste fires. Burning of yard waste, he wanted me to remind everybody, is not allowed within the city. So if you have yard waste, dispose of it properly. Setting fire to it is not the proper way to do it. He's also been working, Chief Gruber along with Chief Stell, they've been working together to put together an SOP for the joint police fire rescue boat that they're going to have down there in the harbor to cover the gaps when the Coast Guard's not going to be in town. So they've been working very hard. They've been working with the Coast Guard on getting the appropriate training, coming up with the standard operating procedures for responses. So they've been busting their humps to get this done, and all with no extra money. So they're doing it on the same budget they had for a boat, which was zero. So they're making it happen. So folks can go out on the water with a little rest assured that someone will be there to help them if they get in distress when the Coast Guard isn't there. So kudos to everyone that's worked hard on that. Civil Service Commission, the city manager reported that there were 8 candidates that passed the police department entrance exam. So there was 8 people that took the test, 8 people that passed it. So they have a kind of a deep pool to select from. Chief Stell, staff, and some community members will sit down at some point and interview these folks to try and fill 3 positions. And then the commission is planning an entrance exam in September for the fire department. And finally, I would like to make a motion based on recommendations from Chief Stell, I'd like to make a motion recommending we prohibit parking on the north side of East 16th Street between Columbus and Harbor Avenue. So
Second by Ward 1.
A motion by Mr. Spielman to ban parking on the north side at East 16th. And a second by Mrs. Foglio. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
yes.
Mr. Roskovics.
Yes. So we will add that by a 7-0 vote. Anything else, Mr. Spielman?
Nope, we're scheduled to meet Monday, May 24th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Spielman. I did have a resident on Washington Street off Bunker Hill. Is it Boulevard or Street? What would it be? Washington Avenue, maybe, who's concerned about that parking on both sides of that street. So maybe you could just mention that to Mr. Stell and the Captain or Chief Stell, and he could begin the process of looking at that if that street needs attention. They felt it was narrow for parking on both sides also. Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Spielman. Okay, Ms. Sensky, do we have any letters or communications regarding any of tonight's legislation?
No, I haven't received anything.
All right, thank you. So tonight we are going to be voting on 2137, the parking on the west side of Cleveland Avenue. 2145, replacement of our codified ordinance pages. 2146, the tax incentive agreements. 2147, Ziegler Heating to repair the air conditioning. 2148, our paving contract. 2149, the budget appropriations from Ms. Sensky. 2150, our healthcare contract. That's from our last meeting. And 2151, to acquire and preserve the conveyor belt and bridge. Do I have them all? Ms. Sensky?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Is it council's desire to handle these in consent agenda format?
So moved, Ward 1.
Second, Ward 4.
Motion by Ms. Foglio, a second by Ms. Harris. Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, John, could you separate 51, the last one, the conveyor belt?
Conveyor belt bridge, okay.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we have a motion to handle items 2137 through items 2150 in consent agenda format.
So moved, Ward 1.
Thank you. And will you change your second, Ms. Harris?
Yes. Second by
Okay.
Ward.
Thank you. So 2137 to 2150. Ms. Sensky, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes, sorry.
no, that's okay. Ms. Harris,
I said yes.
oh, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything but barking. Okay, Mr. Spielman
Yes.
and Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, please. Okay, Ms. Sansky, will you read us those motion or those ordinances tonight?
Yes. Okay, so 2021-37 is an ordinance amending the traffic control map and file to prohibit parking on the west side of Cleveland Avenue. Ordinance number 2021-45, an ordinance to approve current replacement pages to the Ashtabula codified ordinances. Ordinance number 2021-46, an ordinance authorizing the continuation of 11 community reinvestment area tax incentive agreements upon conditions as indicated in accordance with the recommendations of the Tax Incentive Review Council. Ordinance number 2021-47, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Ziegler Heating Company for the purpose of repairs to the air conditioning system at the municipal building in an amount not to exceed $17,500. Ordinance number 2021-48, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with NES Corporation in the amount of $428,184.95 for the purpose of paving city streets. Ordinance number 2021-49, an ordinance to make supplemental increases to appropriations in the general and CDBG funds for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Ashtabula, state of Ohio for the period January 1 through December 31, 2021. Ordinance number 2021-50, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Jefferson Healthcare for the purpose of providing employee health, dental, and vision insurance coverage for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
Okay. Could I have a motion to waive the reading of those pieces of legislation?
So moved, Ward 1.
Second, Ward 4.
Ms. Foglio moves, Ms. Harris seconds. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes,
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, we will waive the reading by a 7-0 vote. Could we have a motion to skip the 2 readings
So moved, Ward 1.
on charter requirements? So moved by Ms. Foglio.
Ward 3 seconds.
Ms. Young will second. Thank you. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes,
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, and on adoption,
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
yes,
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
and Mr. Roskovich.
yes, those items have passed by a 7-0 vote. We will now have the reading of ordinance 2021-51. Ms. Sensky?
Yes, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into all reasonably necessary leases, subleases, and agreements to acquire and or preserve the iconic Ashtabula Harbor conveyor belt and bridge.
Can I have a motion to waive the reading of this legislation?
So moved, Ward 1.
Motion by Ms. Foglio,
Second, Ward 2.
second by Mr. Crawford. Please call the roll, or any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
yes,
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
Yes.
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, we will waive the reading by a 7-0 vote. Could I have a motion to waive the charter requirements for 2 readings?
So moved, Ward 1.
Second, Ward 4.
Motion by Ms. Foglio, second by Ms. Harris to waive the charter requirements of 2 readings. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
yes,
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, we waived the charter requirements by 7-0 vote. Now on the adoption,
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
yes,
Mr. Spielman,
No.
Mr. Roskovich.
yes, that item has passed by a 6-1 vote. Does that conclude our legislative part of our agenda?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Sensky. Under new business, we had a resignation from the Civil Service Commission. And then it was suggested by a member that Sally Bradley, and she has, I believe we received her paper. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Sally Bradley to the Civil Service Commission.
Ward 3 seconds.
Ms. Young will second. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
Ms. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes,
yes,
Mr. Spielman,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich.
Yes, and she will be appointed by a 7-0 vote. We will thank her for her interest in her service. Okay, there is a liquor license transfer on Center Street. Is that Ward 4 or Ward 5?
Mr. Roskovich, we determined it's Ward 4.
It's Ward 4?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Harris, do you have any thoughts on that liquor transfer?
No.
I think it's just a transfer of title, right? Or Ms. Sansky, is there more to it than just a transfer of names?
Yeah, they're calling themselves BB's Food Mart, and
It was a mini mart.
right.
Okay. So, Ms. Harris, any thoughts on that name change affecting the liquor license?
No.
Okay, so we will not request a hearing on that. Unless anybody else, okay, thank you. All right. Is anything else for new business? Okay, so this is time for Tell Us Something We Don't Know. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share with us this evening? I would like to give kudos or a good job, pat on the back, whatever you want to say, to the Architecture Review Board and to our Planning Development Mary Church office. They had a meeting last week, and they had several things happening down there in the harbor, but they have two housing projects that may be taking place down the harbor. And the developers met with the Architecture Review Board and with Miss Church, and they've come up to iron out, some concerns they had, and then they were able to receive their go-aheads. And so hopefully in the near future, we'll have some more housing on Bridge Street, and it looks like we're going to have some nice houses also on the Harbor High School property. So I just wanted to give them, to let them know that, they were proactive. They met with the builders. They worked out their problems. Miss Church facilitated all that. And so I think it was a good thing. So hopefully their plans will come to fruition and we'll see some development down there. And maybe Miss Foglio mentioned the church that's unsightly. Who knows? Maybe someday that could have houses on it. If it goes over big, maybe that'll be used also someday. We don't know. I'm just guessing. Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to share with us this evening?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
I'd like to take a moment just to congratulate my father-in-law, Pat D'Angelo. This is his 30th anniversary as a sworn officer. So thank him for his service that he's done for his whole life.
And thank you, Mr. Crawford, for bringing that up. Sure. Excellent, excellent guy and policeman, and he's been at it a long time. Yeah.
Yes.
So good. We're lucky to have him. Thank you. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
Mr. President,
Yes.
Ms. Haynes, were you going to shout out a congratulations to the finance director?
I was. I
Just didn't want you to forget.
now I gotta find what page I wrote that on, what exactly it was called. Here it is, I got it. I just wanted to say congratulations to the finance director and her department for their award for excellence in financial reporting.
Very good. We clap.
you
If
very
we were there,
much.
if we were there, we'd be clapping for you. So congratulations, Miss Welch, to you and everybody in the office. Very good. Thank you. Okay. And oh, Miss Sensky, why I did think about it. I know we've been giving a letter from council to new businesses, and I did go Saturday to a new business on Bridge Street. It was just coincidentally located next to the cookie store. I don't know, but they're selling all kinds of nice things. So maybe we should get a letter or ready for them, and we can bring it down to them, welcoming them to our city.
Absolutely.
I don't know the name of it. It's the Lace Shop. I don't know, but we'll do that. Okay.
Well, I'll try to find out.
All right. Thank you very much.
And while my microphone's not muted, I told you guys at the last meeting, it was Municipal Clerk Appreciation Week, and I received an email that I appreciated from our past clerk, where Deb Haladke, Oakwood Village Clerk, and Mary Beth Betza from Mayfield Village, all talking about how I interacted with them in the Northeast Ohio Municipal Clerks classes that I took in March, and also for taking initiative to get an Athenian Dialogue sponsored by NEOMCA. We're gonna read the Ruth Bader Ginsburg book. It's a long book, but it looks really interesting. So I wanted to read that, and I was able to get a facilitator for the event for free. And she's from California, and she's really good. So I was really excited about that. And evidently, I don't know, people don't normally go to NEOMCA and just ask for things like this. But Deb said that I'm a leader. So I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I'm really excited about that. And I'm really excited that you guys have given me the opportunity this past month to be able to work remotely a little bit more than normal. It's really helped. And good news is my grandson's home. And I thank you all very much for working with me on that.
Thank you, Miss. And this week, Miss Sensky, is Clerk Week?
Yep.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad you reminded me.
It's Buy a Clerk a Cookie Week.
Is that what it is? That's right up my alley. Tomorrow when I come and sign the papers, I will.
Okay.
Very good. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add tonight? No? All right. Well, seeing nothing, we wish everyone to stay safe, keep wearing your mask, and keep being safe, and everybody have a good week. Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.